Denver, Colorado. Weighing in at Little Homie, Dawn.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one.
Of all the superstars on the roster, this guy is amongst the hardest working. That goes without saying.
Definitely shout out to Don Chaos. Much love to Carnival Spirits.
Shout out to you, Don Chaos. You've been putting in work, bro. Respect.
Congrats to Don Chaos for 1,000 subscribers. Whoop, whoop.
Keep it going, man.
Congratulations, Don Chaos. Yes, keep it going, man. Good luck to you, fucking Don Chaos. And fucking hell yeah on your 1,000 fucking followers.
Yeah, you know who it is. It's Ouija Mac, bitch. Shout out to Carnival Spirits. And fucking shout out to Don Chaos one time. You know what's going on.
This is my brother. Don Chaos and Brother Lynch on here.
Yeah, and Carnival Spirits, what's up, man? Don Chaos, what's up? It's your boy Brother Lynch, and we out here tonight. Let's go.
Fuego Flames and my nigga Don Chaos. What's going on, B? It's my brother right here, it's my boy. Excuse the left, excuse the left.
Yo, what up, y'all? This is Don Chaos, and I'm with a very legendary man. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Hey, Sean. Yeah, we at the gathering, y'all.
Radio show of the year. This one's always controversial. Coming in number one, we got Hours of Chaos with Don Chaos. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, there. Congratulations, man. Don Chaos, Hours of Chaos.
Yo, 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 yo. What is good, everyone? Happy Thursday to everyone. Y'all already know who this is. Get ready, y'all. This is the one and only Mr. D to the O to the N to the C to the H to the A to the O to the S. Your friendly neighborhood JUGGALO. The Karma Millionaire. If you don't know, now you know. And if you still don't know, well, then it sucks to be you. What is good, everyone? We are back with the Hours of Chaos podcast, episode 265, y'all. 265. We are on the road to the 300th episode. It's crazy to know that this show's lasted almost 300 episodes and it's been going on for 8 years. I still can't believe that. So, of course, we are going to be joined by the one and only Waifu Wicked, who is waiting in the green room right now as we speak. So everyone, please welcome, making her debut on the Hours of Chaos podcast, the one and only Waifu Wicked. Burr, 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 burr.
Hello, Don Chaos.
What
Thank
up?
you for having me on.
I promise someday, y'all, I will actually add that sound effect, but I think it's funnier if I do imitate it myself.
Oh, son of a bitch. Am I really? I'm sideways. Hold on.
She's sideways, y'all.
Sitting sideways. Hold on. Actually.
There you go.
Oh, hey. Hi, hello.
Of course, welcome to the show. Of course, this is, I believe, your very first ever interview, too. Am I correct?
Absolutely. First interview, first appearance on any podcast. First sit down on a live stream type thing.
Hell yeah. So you basically, you're a fan of the show. You know how it goes. Just to give a brief introduction to who you are and where you're from and a little brief history. And then, yeah, we will ask with the questions usually.
As has been announced, I'm Waifu Monkey. I have been practicing active in the drug community for probably 2.5, 3 years now. Mostly online. I've been able to catch a few shows. Hard between paychecks sometimes, but I make it do where I can. I hail from Kentucky and represent Kentucky to some extent, at least represent my people from Kentucky. And jugging saved my life.
Hell
I
yeah.
play live every single day. That's why I get up in the morning. And yeah, I'm in full
Exactly.
short sleep, but that's all I got right now.
So for those that don't know, this whole juggalo thing, y'all, this isn't just music to us, y'all. This is our life. So we just, as Shaggy says, jugging ain't a hobby.
It really is not. I mean, you can let it be, but I don't know how much you're gonna get done.
Exactly. Like, obviously, this show, what I do, that's my life, that's my side hustle. If anything, this would probably be my hobby, but I'm jugging even when I'm not doing this show, y'all, because there are some people that will claim that they're jugging, but then we know secretly they're not. And those are the people, as the homie Frankie says, are the ops.
Don't whoop when it's convenient.
Exactly. So what we usually do with we ask our questions, like we want to know your juggalo story. Like, how did you discover the wicked shit? And what was the first song that like grasped your attention, or just what grabbed your attention?
Slight bit of context. I have an egregiously large love for music. I love so many different genres. It's hard to find a type of music that I don't like. I just like music unless it's being made with the intent to just fucking make money off people. So I like a lot of music. And my very first introduction to wicked shit was when I was 6, 7 years old. My mom had gotten together with this dude. I acquired a stepdad and some step siblings, and we went down to their house for the first time. And I walk in and I meet my stepbrother, who is like probably about 14, and there I see for the very first time in my entire life a juggalo. I see a 14, 15-year-old boy in JNCOs with a grossly oversized hockey jersey on, with like imagery that I'm like, the fuck is happening here? And like he's got him little twisted braids, or not braids, but like the
spider legs, as they're
the
called.
ponytails with the ponytails going down. It's not braided, but it's just the sheath ponytail type beat. And as I was walking through the house and stuff, his room door was open, and I was able to see the library of posters and magazine clippings and comic books and just every bit of merch that he could get his hands on, that he plastered all over the walls. And I distinctly remember a very giant Twisted poster. He was very much he loves ICP, he loves Twisted, he loves both. And I just remember being so intrigued. And not long after we moved into their house, my brother regularly would like call us all into the living room to be like, hey guys, I found this new music, like let's listen to it and stuff. Well, this particular time it was the album Bizarre, Double Z Bizarre. And the song that he chose to play very first, and this was the very first time I ever heard ICP, was My Axe. And the feeling in my body when that chorus hit, like, I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know this was allowed. I didn't know that people did this. I didn't know that I didn't know I could hear music that was so fun and silly and not taking itself seriously, but talking about very serious shit and evoking such deep emotion and like talking about stuff that nobody else talked about, kind of stuff. Not that I've ever heard anybody else talk about, at least to that point. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's my very first foray into anything wickedry, anything ICP. And My Axe was the very first song I remember. The first like triad of songs that like stuck with me is My Axe, Mad Professor, and Ned and Game and Boogie Woo. I consider that one song because of the
obviously they all flow into each other, but the way that Ned goes into Boogie Woo is like I can't have one without the other. My brain is like, you got to play the other one. So I guess it's more of a quad than a triad. But
oh yeah, and that's one thing I've always loved is songs that transition well into together. Like my favorite ICP songs that do that, the top 3 that I always say that transition well into each other is off of Riddle Box. You listen to Old Evil Eye, that transitions well into the song 12, and then the song 12 transitions so well into the song Killing Fields.
Yes, fuck yes. And that's something that instantly drew me to ICP because once my brother kind of exposed me to them, I started like looking into them a little bit. I didn't get like super into them. There's a whole thing where like my step siblings were really cool to me, so I like couldn't copy them. So like I didn't let myself get into it for quite a long time. But I did kind of like mess around a little bit. And something that I found that I fucking loved was the level that you could just back to front the albums, those transitions, those skits, like that. That's the shit I live for. I'm an album girl, hardcore. Like I love a good song that just stands out and makes you want to fucking, as I like to say sometimes, particularly about Shaggy the Airhead produced songs, rip the siding off a building. Like I love a good standalone song. But I'm an album girl, so I really deeply appreciate that that particular aspect of ICP and how I can experience the whole album front to back, like it's the whole concept.
And that's one of the main reasons I've always loved them too, is also there's so many layers to their music. They're so diverse, and I like how they can still do the clowny shit that everyone loves, but they can like sound different with each album and still stay true to themselves. Like you can tell the inspiration for each album. Like when you hear Carnival of Carnage, you hear like Beastie Boys, Run DMC. Like when you hear Malenko and Jekyll Brothers, what do you think of a lot of like the new metal or the rap metal that was coming out at that time?
Yeah, you can kind of like, as with any good music, in my opinion, you can see the influences, you can see how it mirrors as the time goes on. And
exactly, and that's what I've always told people, they're mirroring society when their music.
Absolutely. And speaking of like songs that or albums that they have that sound totally different, I've been jamming The Calm and The Tempest recently, and my god, such good revisiting.
Yeah, those albums don't get a lot of credit when they should.
Soft stuff never gets enough credit, but hey,
it usually takes years later. Like everyone loves Jay's rapping from like the Diamond Rain era, and I do, but if you listen to how Jay's rapping was on the Calm and the Tempest era, his rapping and the way how his voice sounded was just awesome and unique.
Seriously, that shit takes me to church.
Like the song Crop Circles, I love that song.
Oh god, I love that song. I've actually recently been I've been writing some stuff, and I found myself writing a verse where I'm like playing around with some crop circle wordsmithery like off of that song, so excited to let that be seen sometime soon.
Oh yeah, and when I hear Crop Circles, like the beat, like I don't know if it's just me, but the beat gives me very Dark Lotus vibes. Like I could see Dark Lotus even on that beat to Crop Circles, or Crop Circles being a Dark Lotus song. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, no, I feel that. Some people are totally gonna understand what I'm gonna say. Some people won't. Lotus, not just because of the imagery that I've seen, but like Lotus has a very like purple and gold feel. Like that's what the music feels like to me. And then The Calm also has that color aura, that color vibe.
And I've always loved, I've always loved like Psychopathic Riders, but like personally, Lotus has speaks more to me because of the stuff they talk about in Lotus. They talk about spirituality, like, you know, conspiracy theories, all that stuff. So I love Riders, but Lotus speaks to me more on a personal and spiritual level.
Fuck yeah. I really like Lotus. I've not listened to enough Riders yet. I'm kind of, if I had to put a percentage on like the discography, I'm probably about 50% into like actually consuming everything that he's created. So I still have a way to go, and Riders is on that list.
Oh yeah. And there's something about when you see Dark Lotus live, especially back in those days, like, yeah, you get this good feeling when you see ICP live, this feeling that you can't describe, but it's the same way when you see Lotus live back then. You just get this feeling comes over you and you can't explain it. It's basically what people would call that carnival high, basically.
Yeah. I feel like that's always when I'm like, it's taking me to church.
Hell yeah. So one thing we also like to ask people before you got into ICP, what is like the first like piece of music in general by an artist that you remember falling in love with? Like for me, it was probably a toss-up between Michael Jackson, Prince, and obviously my parents grew up on that, and I grew up hearing a lot of classic rock because that's what my parents listened to, and that's what I still love.
I love that. That is so, I vibe with all that. The earliest music that I can remember connecting with like that is I have two albums in particular, and it's so unsurprising the like stoner goblin type person that I've turned into, because these were my two first favorite albums. But Green Day's Dookie,
hell yeah,
and Bob Marley's Legend, which is, you know, purists will say because it is a greatest hits album, but it's also, you know, they're the greatest hits for a reason.
Exactly, and that's why I know some people that's how they got into some of the music they love, is they listen to greatest, and I think that's the best way to get introduced to an artist, like, is a greatest hits album.
Absolutely, and that the way Legend, like the track list, the way that they did the track list, like I just love again, speaking of the songs flowing into other songs, like that listing particularly is a good playlist. With Green Day's Dookie, like I have this memory as I had to be like 3 or 4 years old. My parents had put it on, and like When I Come Around starts playing, and there's something about that rhythm that is just so captivating to me. I have this distinct memory that I'm sitting next to the speaker and my head is on the speaker. I'm just like trying so hard to soak up like all of the little chugs of that rhythm guitar. Like, I'm deeply connected with that stupid little album. I love it.
And I always tell people, like, especially because, you know, we're all the same age here, but you know, we're getting older when you're starting to hear Green Day and even like Linkin Park on the old classic rock stations. I'm like, holy shit.
When I start seeing printing shirts at Walmart, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like just a few days ago, I heard Linkin Park like on the classic rock station. I'm like, damn, this is how old I'm getting when you're starting to hear Linkin Park on the classic rock station. Which I love Linkin Park, especially that early Linkin Park. A lot of that music helped me through so much, and it still continues to help me.
Oh God, yeah. I connected with so much of that sad boy emo music. I mean, I call it emo. I guess people wouldn't call Linkin Park emo, but certainly is emo. I think a lot of people think like Midwest emo when you hear emo, but like
the way I see it is Linkin Park was it was emotional rock, but it wasn't like emo. And isn't a lot of music supposed to come from the heart? And that's one thing I liked about them, is they could also rhyme while doing the music they did. So they did a little bit of rapping in some of their music too.
God, yeah, they were king for a while.
And I know for years that even back then, ICP said they would have loved to have Linkin Park like at the gathering and stuff back in the day. Like Chester, that dude, I don't care what anyone says, that dude had a phenomenal voice. Like you could hear his pain coming through his music.
I always really liked his voice.
Me too. Or if you watched him perform live and just like his connection with the crowd, when he would get intimate with the crowd and he'd be like singing in front of everyone and then he'd give them the mic and stuff. It's awesome.
Crowd connection is really important. It's good stuff. That's where, you know.
And when you heard Linkin Park a lot of back in the day, like remember they had that album that was very Japanese anime inspired and stuff. I forget what it was called, but it's one of their classic albums.
Wow, Don Chaos, I think you just unlocked a fucking core memory. Damn, I not thought about that shit. long time. My brain's like trying so hard to make the image of that album come up. Wow.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
close, hit X on that tab because I don't think it's gonna be able to pull it up.
But I also, like, besides growing up back then, before I found my other music, I grew up watching and listening to like a lot of soundtracks to movies, like especially back in the 90s. Like the 80s were good, but the soundtrack for movies back in the 90s were flawless.
I love soundtracks.
And I don't care what kind,
well.
and I don't care what kind of soundtrack it is. It could be the soundtrack from a Disney movie. I don't give a shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a super fan of I'm a super fan of music and film and all kinds of things like that. And I'm down with I love musicals to crime movies to whatever, but the sound design has got to be on.
Exactly.
If it's not on, it's I'm out.
People don't realize that that's not what just makes a good movie is the acting and the storytelling. No, what also helps make a movie is the music or the scoring in a movie.
Absolutely. Have you seen Edgar Wright's Baby Driver?
I don't think so, but one documentary I recommend that people watch. It's on Disney Plus. It's a documentary about John Williams and all the movies that he made music for. Because he's made music for so many classic movies. He's did music for Indiana Jones, the Harry Potter movies. He's done music for Jurassic Park, Jaws, Star Wars, E.T.
Literally fucking every major hit.
So that's why when I tell people my three favorite movie composers are John Williams, Hans Zimmer, which he did a lot of the music for The Lion King, and then obviously Danny Elfman. Come on, because it's Danny Elfman.
Love Danny Elfman. Long live Danny Elfman.
Yeah, I mean, and he's done music for so many good movies too, especially a lot of Tim Burton movies. When I think of Batman, I think of Danny Elfman's music and stuff.
I only think The Simpsons for some reason.
Right? So one of the other questions we ask is obviously you started writing music, and I know you've been doing it for a while. So what made you want to take writing music more seriously?
Hell yeah, I like this. I've written poetry for quite a long time. I started writing poetry when I was young, we'll say that. And then there was a long portion of my life where I didn't write anything at all. Because surprisingly, when you write, emotions move and shit like that. And I think my brain kind of subconsciously figured out, no emotions move. It can be good for a little while. Kind of beat. And in the past few years, I've really from 2021 to now has been this major transformation, as people might like to say, where I realized all at once that my life was not at all what I wanted it to be and was not going where I wanted it to go. And part of that was not writing anymore, not talking to myself through writing in my journal and things like that, and not writing poetry anymore. My brain just kind of spits stuff out sometimes, and it's not writing it down does me a disservice. So I had a lot of shit happen to where I started to have a really big interest in emotional processing again, and honestly, I had a lot of fucking anger that I didn't know what to do with, and someone suggested that writing again might help get some of that moving, and it did. And then it got a million other things moving as well, and it actually got me moving, and now I'm holy shit, it keeps me moving. So
well, that's one thing I've always loved about music is some of the best music comes from the heart usually, and it starts out with poetry. That's my favorite kind of music, is music that comes from the heart. That's why I noticed you and Taylor have a lot in common, and that's both yours creative writing process. You guys just want to write like how you're feeling at the time, basically. And maybe write something that someone could go, wow, I can relate to that.
Yeah, and like I love playing that fun game of, here's the emotion. Now how do I make that like make sense to anybody? Not even make it, but just like how do I like work with it in a way to where it's more accessible, or like something like that. It's usually like, how do I make it more accessible? Because often I think my thought that comes out is like, nobody's ever going to be able to relate with that. But that's a whole thing that I've realized too through writing music and putting it out or sharing it with people here and there is you're really going to be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't relate with what you're saying. Like,
and I love that
revolutionary thing, I think.
Right, and it's good to be like a very diverse artist too. Like a lot of the artists I listen to are diverse. Like they'll do serious songs, and they may do funny songs, and they may do songs that make you think, or they'll do a song where they're straight singing. Like that's Taylor. She wants to do like music that people can relate to, but every now and then she'll want to do something for entertainment, or she'll do straight rapping, or she'll do straight singing.
Yeah, kind of sounds like she wants to do what she wants to do.
and I know she's going to get back into playing guitar, so I know when some of you guys start to hear some of her new music, when you hear the live guitar on there, that's actually going to be Taylor playing the guitar too in her music, which is cool too.
That is so sick. I'm peeping over at the chat real quick. I don't have the attention span to look at it a lot, so much clown love to everybody who's in there. That is so awesome to fucking hear that Taylor is going to get back into playing guitar. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, because she says with some of when she writes new music, she wants to be able to add like live guitar on there. And I think she told me what inspired her to do that was watching Dev do, where Dev does his lives where he's playing guitar and stuff.
Yes, make your own samples. Like that's the beauty. Like we can really do it all ourselves, and not like we should. Not like the whole job is on us. Like we work together and get the job done together. It's not like incumbent on us alone. But it's so getting inspiration like that is fucking amazing. I actually recently started picking my guitar back up. I don't know how long I'll be picking it up and rolling with it, because my joints don't really agree with it anymore. But it's been fun getting back into that as well.
Exactly. And that's one thing I've always loved, even like about Ouija. He's diverse. Like we know he could rap, but I remember when I first started hearing Ouija sing, I'm like, damn, this dude can sing and it sounds good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just like Darby. Darby always says he doesn't like his singing voice, but Darby, we love your singing voice.
Seriously, Darby, let yourself sing. If that, I didn't know that he didn't like his singing voice. That's insane to me.
And we've even talked to like Devin. I was like, we need like a show whenever Ouija's performing at the gathering, or Darby, and having Dev live playing guitar as they're performing. That would be awesome. And even Dev's like, yeah, I would like to play guitar live. I was like, let's make it happen.
Hell yeah.
Like, I don't care what anyone says. I would love to see a Ouija set where he has like a live band. That would be awesome.
That would honestly be pretty sick. My brain's trying to AI like create that.
That's that's the only kind of music I won't like. As someone who's making music like AI, where their voice is AI generated, I'm like, no, use your
right on. Yeah.
I will be like, use your actual voice. If you're using your actual voice, but you're just making AI videos, I'm fine with AI videos, but don't make complete AI music where you AI your voice.
Pretty neutral on AI.
I am too.
I think a lot of people want me to have an opinion, or like I feel like the system wants me to have an opinion on it, man. So
I have a strong opinion on it. I am freaked out by it. I was like, did no one learn anything from the Terminator movies? Because when scientists have come out and said the future would be more like Terminator than probably the Matrix, or maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, it's a healthy cocktail of both at this point, I'd say.
Because Like, that's the one thing that I get worried about AI is when they start like adding it to like technology, like military technology. That's the kind of stuff that worries me. I'm like, what if someone was to hack that? Then we're
Oh, my
screwed.
favorite.
I was like, what if someone was to hack that? Then we'd be screwed.
Oh, I see Cheese House says DIY till you die. Fuck the fuck, yes.
Hell yeah. So one of the other questions we usually ask our guests, like, obviously, like everyone has their own personal Joker's card, and if you like all of them, that's cool too. I love all of them. They all speak to me in my own way. But if you had to choose which Joker's card resonates more with you or speaks to you the most, if you had to pick, and why?
Because I'm wordy as shit, I kind of have a 3-pronged answer. Also, hi, hello, this is Beers. He was clawing the shit out of my legs. So I have to give him some love. The one I resonate with the most is Ringmaster, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I'm writing about, honestly, when I'm like going into writing mode at all, or to get into writing mode, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's the Joker's card I visit as far as like what I want to remember about what I feel is important and what I want to make sure to embed into what I create for the community. That is the one that touches me the absolute most. And my most listened to is Malenko, hands down. Actually, no. My most listened to is either Shangri-La or Malenko.
Yeah, you and Taylor have so much in common besides being birthday twins, because that's her personal favorite is Shangri-La.
Hey! Yeah,
that album helped me through so much.
Seriously, I probably revisit it at least twice a week, just as like, just a prescription, like just for myself, for mental health. Like every time I hear, I gotta get my blood in there, like it's just too beautiful.
Yeah. Now, which Joker's card would even though they all have good messages, but which one's message would probably grasp your attention more?
The message that grasps me more is certainly Raid Shangri-La. Just because it's like it is, again, some people understand what I'm saying, some people won't. It feels like a diamond that lights are shining in and it's refracting from. Like that's the level of vibe and message there. Pretty unsurprising, I assume. But and also honorable mention, fucking cat, I love you, quit biting me. Honorable mention Yum Yum and her seeds, because that shit saved my fucking life. That shit saved. And I will fist fight and throw rocks about Yum Yum all fucking day. If anybody would like to do that.
And I laughed when people hated on that album. I was like, well, then you guys didn't get the moral. The album is called Bedlam. What is Bedlam? A form of chaos and disarray. So when people were like, the album's all over the place, I was like, that's how all ICP albums are. Yes, but fits the theme. The word Bedlam is a state of uproar and chaos, so it makes sense for the album to be all over the place. And I liked how they were very diverse on that album too. Like, I always tell people, in my opinion, their musical masterpiece on that album is the song Ain't No Time. That is probably their most personal song that they've ever made, and I've shown that song to people and they were like, who's this? And I won't tell them until after it's over, and I'll be like, that's actually ICP, and they're like, no fucking way. That is.
I love that moment. I love that moment so much. Who's this? You're like, oh, it's that wicked shit that you've been talking shit about.
But yeah, Ain't No Time, that, in my opinion, that song is, like, my opinion, their musical masterpiece, to where you could play that song for someone and they won't even know it's ICP.
Yeah. I would. It's one of those like sneaky ones that you could get a line rider about, or a line rider.
And it has a very like early 90s feel. Like when I hear it, it makes is it me, or does that song make me think of like Nirvana because the way the guitar sounds, but in a good way.
I definitely feel some 90s vibes in there, for sure.
And just like the way like Roadside Ghost, the lead singer sounds on that song, like I was like, damn, like that song helped me through so much. Like the chorus of that song where he goes, I hope you end up missing. It's like the ultimate it's like the ultimate breakup song. Like Roadside Ghost does not get enough credit, and they should.
Shout out that line. I have screamed that in the ether to so many motherfuckers. Like,
yep.
For real. That song does hit me real hard, and I really love that song. Bitch I'm Fine is the one from all of Yum Yum and her seeds and stuff that really like
Yeah, and then
I just think they recall saving me.
Yeah, and then you have them opening up with Here Comes the Carnival. It like grabs you by the soul. I've been saying for years, they need to have that be the opener that they open up with their song with, because I want to be able to hear that this year at the Gathering. Them open and hearing that song live at the Gathering would be amazing.
That would be fucking amazing.
Or have them film a music video for it where it's with visual effects, or have them film the music video for it at the Gathering. That would be amazing.
That would be sick as fuck. And speaking of, well, we're talking about this album, and then I thought of like how I listen to albums altogether. When I say Yum Yum and her seeds, I literally mean Lure, Bedlam, and the Seeds. Like that is a sandwich to me. That is an entire album to me. Like that doesn't. Yes,
Agreed.
They are separate, but they're not.
Exactly. And I think they need to do. I wonder if they're going to do that with this like 6 Jokers card. If the Joker card's like going to have something that will be released as an EP, or people call it companions. Because with Fearless Fred Fury, you had Flip the Rat.
Yeah. I like that. I like the little companion bits like that. Or the
that's what I call them, basically. Like what you see with even the old Joker cards, I call it like their companion, because Malenko has a bird on one hand, and then the Wraith has a like raven on his shoulder.
Little familiar.
Like when people always ask me which Joker's card I like, I was like, well, which one? How are we talking? Are we talking about musically, message-wise, or when I'm in the mood vibes? Because I like them all in their own way, shape, or form. And that's why I always tell people, I was like, when people are like, well, which Joker's card do you like? I'm like, which one are we talking about? Are we talking about image-wise, music-wise? What are we talking about?
Yeah. Like, is it how it makes me feel? Is it, I have such a hard time choosing favorite anythings like that.
I know, that's how it's hard for me. That's why a few years ago when I had to rank the Joker cards, I was like, this is hard.
Yeah, I can't. It's all about like how I'm vibing at the moment. Like when anybody's like, what's your favorite this? I'm like, right now I'm enjoying this. Like,
exactly.
So when that's my favorite artist, it's like this is who I'm listening to right now.
Yeah, like it's really hard for me to rank stuff. Like if I were to tell you my favorite albums of all time, we would be here forever. And I don't like to rank stuff, because I could tell you what some of my favorite stuff is, but it is really hard for me to rank stuff. I don't know how people do it. Some stuff I can rank. Like I could rank my top 4 favorite shows of all time right off the bat. Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, and The Sopranos.
I think literally the only one I can do is say that my favorite people are juggalos. Like I think that's literally all. That's the only favorite that I think that I can make.
Right. Like I could rank like my favorite food too, but when it comes to like ranking like an artist's like work, I can't do that. That is hard. Like I could probably tell you what some of my favorite Psychopathic Records albums are. Like obviously my personal favorite Psychopathic Records album is that first Dark Lotus album, the original Tales from the Lotus, the Red Cross with Mars. That's my personal favorite.
Oh yeah.
Just there's something about that first Lotus album, and everyone's like, I can see why that would be a top Psychopathic album. It is.
For sure, for sure.
So that's one of the questions that we will ask you. If you had to pick, we'll only get you 5 because it's easier to do 5. But if you had to pick, what are your top 5 like favorite Psychopathic Records albums of all time? Like any by any artist or any group.
Ooh. My brain, for some reason, wants to like Psychopathic Chapter 17. Are we including Ouija in this?
Yes, because
okay, cool. For some reason, my brain wanted to separate, but like
yes, because that would be in my top 5 or even top 10 is Ouija Max Gutter Water.
Right. Okay. 5. We'll say top 5. I'll have to work 5 that like 5 I would take with me. We'll say that. Top 5. Wasteland. Ouija Max Wasteland.
Yeah, it gets pretty tricky even with 5.
I want to say Stale Wind. And then I'm probably going to throw the rest to ICP for the Wraith Shangri-La, Malenko, and Ringmaster.
Oh yeah, those are definitely
And,
good.
you know, I do fuck with all kinds of Psychopathic shit, but like my main pillars of what my brain wants to listen to is mostly ICP and Ouija Max, so that's why that list is as such.
Hell yeah. And if you had to pick like, and this is like music diverse taste, because I know you love music and I know you're going to have fun doing this one, but name your top 5 albums that had a big impact on your life.
In general?
Yeah, in general.
Like albums from anybody, anywhere, anytime, any genre, whatever?
Yep, any artist or group.
Okay.
Because I know you're diverse with your music taste, and I know you'd have fun answering this one.
And I'm still gonna fucking throw Ouija Mac on there because it didn't feel right to throw this one on there, but Problem Children, him and fucking Ricky Hill, that's certainly on this goddamn list. Problem Children. Probably Frank Zappa's Apostrophe. Green Day Dookie, as we mentioned before.
Hell yeah.
Todd Snyder, East Nashville Skyline. If anybody likes a guy playing a guitar talking about real shit, kind of outlaw, Bob Dylan almost type heroin addict guy, fucking highly recommend. Ooh. And honestly, I think I'm gonna throw the 5th one to the Grateful Dead, and it's an album, but it's a show. It's Live Without a Net. I think it is a show from like 1990, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I wish that music would do more is live albums, because live albums, there was a lot of dope ones back in the day. Like, remember Nirvana Unplugged and stuff, how dope that was?
Fucking A, I love a live album, especially, well, I say especially. I was gonna say especially when it's like produced by the band, and it's like through the soundboard and stuff. And then I realized that like how else would it exist? But I come from Grateful Dead Deadhead culture where people were just creating stuff from hand mics in the crowd and stuff. So there is another way to do it. But the soundboard mix is always better.
Hell yeah. If you had to pick like what are like your like top favorite movies of all time that you can watch no matter how many times you've seen it, and people be like, haven't you watched that enough? And you're like, I don't care, I can watch this movie so many times and never get tired of it.
Okay, this one now. This is you're helping me realize some stuff about myself. This is a favorite that is much easier for me to categorize, especially when you word it that way. Of like, I can watch them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Grandma's Boy, which potentially unpopular opinion, best Happy Madison movie, and I don't give a flying fuck that Adam Sandler's not in it. So Grandma's Boy, Fight Club. When I think about how much those two lived in my DVD players, like literal, like probably years at a time, unsurprising why I am the way I am. Grandma's Boy, Fight Club, strangely but not strangely, Legally Blonde.
That is a classic.
Is an important film. And again, I will fight and throw rocks about that as much as possible. A recent movie that has made it onto this list is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
It has been a long time since any movie has made it onto this list. As you can tell, all the other ones are older, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is certainly one of those that feels really important, and I could watch it over and over and over and over. I know I have a fifth one. Are you also going to ask me about TV shows?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I won't throw it. Dawn of the Dead.
Hell yeah, that's definitely a good classic.
Another Edgar Wright film.
Hell yeah, and if you had to pick, yes, that was on point. If you had to pick, what are like your top favorite, like when it comes to like animation, like movies and TV shows, what's like some of your favorite animated TV shows and like movies?
Okay. I say that like I haven't heard all of these questions before, but I get so excited when I hear them again.
Like one of my favorite ones is like Hey Arnold. I liked that show because it had humor, but when you dig deep into it, it was a very serious show and it was good.
And I distinctly recall a couple very dark episodes and a couple moments where I was like, the level of like embarrassment for like Eugene, for example, like that show made you feel there's some realness going on there.
Exactly. Like if anyone hasn't seen, there was a second Hey Arnold movie. It was a made for TV movie, but it was supposed to be a movie in theaters, but it's the movie that like wraps up the series completely and it hits you really in the feels. Like the movie basically picks up where he finds out about his parents, which everyone knows how sad that episode is.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Or the Christmas episode with his neighbor, his neighbor gets to see his daughter for Christmas and Helga like helps him with that. And you find out that his neighbor like sent his daughter away to America because it was during the Vietnam War, basically. That episode makes me
children's cartoons.
That episode makes me cry. I liked how there was like funny cartoons when we were growing up, but there was also those real serious cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, like not that cartoons before that, like 50s, 60s, like Looney Tunes, like I don't know. Not that there was no deep cartoons back in the day, but shit got weird in the 80s approaching to the 90s, and then
like Land Before
they definitely started to put a lot of like deep esoteric knowledge and shit.
Like, yes, The Lion King traumatized us as kids because of what happens, but before that, what really traumatized us was Land Before Time. Like with Littlefoot's mother, if that didn't make you cry, oh my.
Shout out. Petrie was my favorite character on that show, or on that movie, in that movie.
Like, and that's that animator, like I forget his name. His name is Don something. He doesn't get a lot of credit for his animation, and a lot of his animation came out in the 80s, 90s, and a lot of that animation was not put out by Disney, which nothing against Disney, but I tell people there's a lot of gem animated movies that weren't Disney back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Like
the animated movies or animated movies and TV, right?
Yeah, so just animation in general.
Well, I mean, unsurprisingly, Waifu Wicked, I love anime, like Japanese anime. So let's see, My Dress Up Darling. Incredible. Holy shit. Love it. It is probably my favorite. I don't know. It's not my favorite anime. It's probably my second favorite anime. My Dress Up Darling. There's another anime. It's on the lewd side, but it's not like hentai or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just saying it's lewd, but it's not hentai. Yeah, it's called Shimoneta. And it's Shimoneta. I think the subtitle is like, I don't want to live in a boring world where dirty words don't exist. And like, it's this chick and her whole mission is to like keep the world obscene and, you know, keeping things dirty and stuff like that. It's great in this world where they're like trying to censor what they say and shit like that. It's fantastic. So My Dress Up Darling, Shimoneta, Sailor Moon. There is a show, it's produced by Disney, even though fuck Disney till the day I die. Just some magical person happened to get their show made through them. It's called The Owl House, and it's
that's a good one.
Yes, young girl who is a human but ends up in magical land and is like, oh, I can be a witch, and like it's fantastic. And then honestly, I'm gonna throw the fifth one to what is it called? Duncan Trussell's The Midnight Gospel.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that one.
It is. I've been a Duncan Trussell fan for quite a few years, and when that came out, I was floored. It's finally animations to go with, like, you know.
Oh yeah, like one of my top animes that I know everyone loves it, but I grew up watching it. One of them is Sailor Moon, but I also grew up on Yu Yu Hakusho, if you remember that.
Dude, Inuyasha is so dope, funnily enough.
Of course, who doesn't love Dragon Ball Z? It's Dragon Ball Z.
Oh god, yeah, and seriously, honorable mentions to both of those animes. Like, those are very
and I still love
anime, and to me as well.
And yes, I still love Pokemon, even to this day. I don't give a shit.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Pokemon is probably, no, undoubtedly, the anime that I have watched the most episodes of and have rewatched the most, because every day at 3 p.m. get home from school and it was fucking Pokemon, Jackie Chan Adventures, Yu-Gi-Oh! I think maybe at some point we switched over and I'd go like turn my brain off for a while and we go to KET and go to Dragon Tales on PBS.
What's up, Frankie? We see you.
Big man in the block.
So yeah, like one of my favorite like Japanese animation companies, and I always said they are basically like, if they are basically the Disney version of Japanese animation. But who doesn't love a good Studio Ghibli film? Come on.
Yo, yeah.
I always said they are basically the Disney of Japanese animation, and that's in a good way. Like, some of their movies like are heartfelt, and some of their movies are quite serious and have good messages for it. Like, if the movie Grave of the Fireflies does not make you cry, there is something wrong with you. Or if the movie Princess Mononoke doesn't make you cry.
Yo, Princess Mononoke, it requires tissues. It's just part of the experience.
The way I see it, that movie was like the Japanese animation of like Avatar before Avatar even came out, or the best way to describe it, it's the Japanese version of Fern Gully, which is another classic.
No, the Japanese version of Fern Gully. Are you serious? That's such a good analogy.
Because when you look, that's one thing I recommend everyone do. Next time you guys are watching Princess Mononoke, you'll be like, damn, it's basically like Fern Gully, but it's more dark and serious.
Damn, this shit smells just like Fern Gully.
Which Fern Gully is another example. An animated movie that was not made by Disney, and it was flawless.
Keep in the chat for a second. Wild asses.
So see, even Frankie says he co-signs Grave of the Fireflies. Frankie knows.
Okay, I mean, a Spanky Moldy cosign on an anime. I'm probably gonna go watch it.
And because you
Between
would
Don
like,
Chaos and Spanky Moldy, I mean, come on.
and you would like it because it is a Studio Ghibli film too.
I like to call it Studio Giblets. So every time you say that.
Another one of my favorite ones of that by that company, even though I love all the movies, is Howl's Moving Castle. That is a good one. And that's one thing I loved about that studio company. All their movies are like so diverse and stuff.
And that aesthetic, like there's something so like
the animations, the animations the same with some of them, but also they have different stories being told in them and stuff, like just the storytelling. Like some of them take place in like fantasy settings or even post-apocalyptic settings and stuff. Like Grave of the Fireflies shows the dangers of war and how it affects even the civilians in war. So it's actually showing you looking at the perspective of what like civilians went through in World War II. So it's very heartfelt. Like, and it shows you what like a lot of children went through, especially in like war-torn Japan during World War II. So it will make you cry.
Yes.
That's a good one too, Cheese. Most definitely.
Oh yeah, Ponyo's good.
And then my other top favorite, of course, who doesn't love this one also, Spirited Away. That is a classic.
I think I have not seen Spirited Away, actually.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think my headphones just died, so I just wanted to make sure that the mic transferred.
Yep. There's like I have the whole box set like of that studio company. Like I bought it like on Amazon, and it's all of them on Blu-ray. So it's almost every movie made by that company at the time, which is cool.
Yo. I mean,
another underrated
Miyazaki for life.
Yeah, another underrated Japanese like animation where it's just a movie, and I don't know the company that makes it, but it's a very unapproved like Japanese animation movie. It's called Wolf Children. It's such a good movie.
Ooh,
that one will make you cry too.
Oh, and I'm a honorable mention on the animes. I mean, it's more manga. I don't know how many times it's been. Junji Ito. I know it's overplayed in the world of people who love anime and horror and such, but fucking Junji Ito. So love it. Love everything that he's created.
Yep. Ninja Scroll is another great anime movie. That was just a movie from the 90s.
Ninja Scroll. Y'all got hot recommendations. I love you so much.
Another
I
one.
have a handy dandy notebook that I'm like.
Another one that was a TV show later on down the line, but it was originally a movie, and it was this anime actually inspired The Matrix, and that's the movie Ghost in the Shell. Does anyone remember that?
Ghost in the Shell.
Like, a lot of people don't realize that anime and a bunch of other animes are what inspired the Matrix movies, which is cool.
There's a pipeline there for sure.
Like, the Ghost in the Shell TV series was good, but nothing beats like the Ghost in the Shell movie that came out like in the 90s.
I remember watching some of the TV series. I don't think I have seen the movie actually.
Yeah, it was originally a movie in the 90s, but I used to watch the TV show too back in the day when it was like on Adult Swim and stuff.
I don't watch Network. The only reason I watched the only reason I was able to access anything anime before the internet.
Yeah, like now we're just getting on an anime talk, like Blood Plus The Last Vampire. That's a good one. You know, I even like the ones that some people think are overrated, and I don't care if people think they're overrated. I love them. Like, I love Naruto. I don't give a shit.
I like what I like. If a million other people happen to like it, that's the way it is. I'm not going to choose not to like it because a million other people like it.
Exactly.
It may make me give it side eye to be like, you know, is there some kind of like weird magic to where they're like brainwashing people? No, okay, cool, whatever, you know. but like,
and that's how I felt. Like I always told people, usually sometimes there's something that a million people like that I may not like, but then sometimes I might. Or there's something that everyone hates, but I end up loving.
seriously, this is making me recall a very distinct conversation I had in high school, which makes sense to have this kind of attitude in high school. Talking about Forrest Gump, something that is liked by a lot of people that I happen to like, that some people are like, oh, or whatever, which it's cool if you don't like it. But I distinctly recall having this conversation about how much I enjoyed it. And this contrarian ass fucking alt girl who I so tried to be friends with, but just she would not let it fucking happen.
Oh, I think there's
going
something
on and on about how she was like, I don't. Forrest Gump is the worst movie ever. No, back it up.
What?
She ain't got no argument. She's just like, fuck Forrest Gump. And I'm like,
it's like, well, and then that's probably like, well, you're missing out. It's a good movie.
Yeah, like at least
like
let
Tom
yourself
Hanks
experience it and see if you like it.
Oh yeah, Tom Hanks is a very phenomenal actor, and that's one of those other few movies that will make me cry. But people say, yes, the movie's sad, but if you read the book of Forrest Gump, it will make you cry even more. That the book is just as sad.
Yeah, I've never read the book actually. Also, I watched that movie really young, which is probably why I love it so much.
I did too. I
that
wish
and Titanic or two that, like, as a very young child, I was like, oh my god.
I know, and I always tell people, as much as everyone likes to make fun of Forrest Gump, I don't know why. I was like, it's a very serious movie, and it's very heartfelt.
I'm saying it points at a lot of things. It's a very thorough movie.
And I like because that movie was like for like the generation that my grandparents grew up in and that my parents grew up in. So like whenever I would watch that movie with my grandparents or parents, they would be like, oh, I remember where I was when that happened too. So it brings back nostalgia for people, and that's why I said they should make a new Forrest Gump that fits our generation, that like takes place in the 90s and 2000s and stuff. And we could be like, oh, I remember where I was when that happened.
That is wild as shit. I'm seeing Ruby say, to be fair, Jenny is a terrible person, and I cannot agree more.
She is.
Like, literally as like a 7-year-old getting done with that movie, I was like, so she duped a man who was probably easy to dupe and gave him AIDS? And then he has to raise the kid? I'm sorry, what?
Right.
I like to analyze fucked up shit, and that's probably why I like the movie so much.
Yeah. Yes, she's bad, but when you do watch it from another perspective and you see what Jenny went through and stuff, you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like how her dad was towards her and how just she was treated. It is pretty sad. Or just the part when he finds out that that's actually his son. That part always like makes me cry.
Dude, shout out that little kid. He's in Liar Liar too. That's one of my also favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I think he was also, I'm trying to remember what else he was in. Oh, another movie that will make y'all cry. Y'all might remember. It's called Artificial Intelligence. It's about a boy robot and he wants to be human. It's basically like the story of Pinocchio, but it's such a good movie.
It's Robin Williams, isn't it?
Well, that was Bicentennial Man.
Oh, that's Bicentennial Man. Why do I always do that? Is it Haley Joel Osment?
I think so, but yeah, there's two.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are two movies are about the same subject, which they're both really good movies. And that's one thing I always loved about Robin Williams. Yes, he could make us laugh in movies, but he could also be in those movies that could hit you in the feels. Like, I was like, yes, he could make us laugh, but he could make us go, damn, like that just grabbed me by the soul. Like that movie Jack, like the movie Jack, where he's a grown man, but he like still has like the mentality of a child. That movie, oh my God, makes me cry.
Yo,
and it has Jennifer Lopez in it. She plays his teacher.
Yeah. I love that movie. Or well, I remember loving that movie as a child. We'll say that. I don't know if I still love it. And for some reason, I just made a connection between Jack and Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. I don't know if there's a connection there, but like regardless.
And that's one thing I always loved about even Jim Carrey. Like, yes, he was a funny actor, but he could be a very serious actor. Like Liar Liar, yes, is a funny movie, but it's a heartfelt movie too when you look at it.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, literally, he's a habitual liar to his child, of which is getting ready to leave the state with a Magoo ass man that he can't, stand.
Of course, my favorite scenes in that movie are when he's like trying to lie and he's like, the color of this pen, and he's trying to say red, but it's blue. He's like, blue. And then she comes in and then he starts crying. He's like, it's blue. It's blue. Or
the amount of times, I don't know. I probably about at least 17 times a week say, "I'm kicking my own ass. Do you mind?" Like,
right? And he's like kicking the shit out of himself in the bathroom.
Yeah. I also see Ruby mentioning Truman Show, and I have to shout out Truman Show too, a movie that fucked me up and remade me, for sure.
But a really good Ron Williams movie that I recommend for anyone, and I know some people have seen it. It's based off a book, and I won't tell y'all what it's about if none of y'all seen it, but it's called What Dreams May Come. Let's just say, without giving the premise of what it's about, it's basically the moral of the movie is like, how far would you go for the one you love in this life or the next? So that gives you an idea. So it's pretty heartfelt. Would you go far to say help someone you love in this life, and would you help them in the next life, basically? So that's basically the premise of it.
That sounds dope as shit. That sounds like some feeling shit that I'm into.
It is, and for a 90s movie, the special effects for that were amazing.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
And now we're going to get into like your favorite shows. So any show of all time, what are your top 5 like favorite shows of all time that you can even watch and never get tired of watching it, no matter how many times you've watched it?
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I can think of 3 right off the bat. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Classic.
I didn't mean to say that with a Philly accent, but I kind of did, or at least said Philadelphia like it. Sunny, Seinfeld.
Yes.
Jerry Seinfeld's cool. Whatever. I'm a huge Larry David fan. I have a curmudgeon inside me that really resonates with Larry David on some levels. Workaholics is another big one for me.
Oh yeah, especially the episode when they go to the gathering. That episode, I said they nailed the gathering to a T on that episode.
I've heard a lot of people have issues with that episode, and I've also heard a lot of people be like, "Fuck yeah" about it. And
when I tell people, as juggalos, we're clowns. We gotta laugh at ourselves once in a while. Like
right.
Like me and my friends will pull that joke on each other. We'll be like, "Who's this bitch ass juggalo?"
Dude, yes.
Because that's exactly how we talk sometimes.
Yeah. Me and Dungeon quote that episode quite a lot. I mean, we quote Workaholics all the time. It's kind of just in our vernacular. I think that episode has heart because I'm pretty sure that Kyle Newacheck is actually a juggalo. I don't know if he openly will rep it at all, but I think that Kyle Newacheck is a juggalo, and I think Blake Henderson's down enough.
We have
as well. I think that's why the episode has heart and doesn't come off like it's making fun of people. At least to me, it doesn't. It feels very much love.
We have a term for that also that we use in our juggalo community. We say they're a juggalo and they don't know it by now.
Yeah, juggalo and don't know. Fuck yeah.
Or juggalotus or they're a juggalotus and they don't know it yet.
Sunny, Seinfeld, Workaholics.
Yes, Office is good, Cheese. The Office is
I was going to say, that was literally my number 4. I think Office is probably my number 4.
Trailer Park Boys, I love. Trailer
Park Boys.
And I always tell people, Trailer Park Boys, they are juggalos. You just know it.
Ooh, got ROC on the Christmas list. Of course, I thought of the rapper first.
And I love Bubbles.
I'd say TPB is probably my I'd say I'll round that out with Trailer Park Boys. Trailer Park Boys, The Office, Sunny, Seinfeld, Workaholics.
Oh yeah.
Till the day I die, I could watch them over and over.
Right. Like now, if I had to do comedies, a lot of those would probably be in them. Like another one I love. Like I said, my lists are huge, so it's hard for me to narrow stuff. But Reno 911 is so funny.
Reno, yes. Oh, I fucking love Reno so much. Those that particular group of comedians that New York, the state people, I fucking love them a lot. They're very good. David Wayne and crew.
Yeah.
Have you watched their show? Well, not their show, but like, have you seen Stella? It's David Wayne, Michael Ian Black, and Michael Showalter.
I haven't yet, but I heard it's really funny.
You might like it. It's very. If you like dry, weird ass shit, you'll enjoy it.
Oh yeah, and I love just crazy like British slapstick humor. Like that's some of my favorite type of humor. Like when it comes to British slapstick humor, I love Monty Python. Who doesn't love Monty Python?
I mean,
and then I love Are You Being Served? That show is classic.
Yo, you unlocked another core memory. I've not thought about that show in a long time.
And I watched that and I was like, wow, this was on in the 70s, but I found out it used to be on late night on TV. And some of the stuff they could get away with saying back then on TV, I'm like, what?
Seriously. Honorable mention, it's not British, but it is part of the BBC. It's an Irish show. Father Ted, if anybody is interested in a dry-ass comedy about a couple Catholic priests and them getting into shenanigans, and often their planes blowing up because they're fucking idiots.
And then obviously, who doesn't love Golden Girls? Come on.
Golden Girls hits.
The legendary Betty White and everyone on that show, and even the stuff they could get away with saying on that show, is still funny. And I love how Betty White's character is the exact opposite of how she is in real life.
Yeah, she's much more prim and proper and kind of
she acts where I said, like, now the other two characters, Dorothy and Sophia, that they fit more of how Betty White is personally. She's like a savage, basically.
Oh, yo, another like. I think it was BBC. I think I used to watch it through PBS or something. Keeping Up Appearances. The main character is Hyacinth Bouquet. That's another really good dry ass show that I fucking love.
Yeah, and another one that a lot of people love or hate, but I don't care. Is the Mr. Bean show. I love that show.
I love Mr. Bean. I love Rowan Atkinson. I think he's a fucking genius. I don't know about him personally as a person or anything like that, but as an actor and such. I fuck with Rowan Atkinson. Shout out Rat Race.
Oh yeah, a lot of people. I think he's funny. Like, fun fact, a lot of people don't know he actually did the voice of Zazu the bird in The Lion King. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I see Ruby saying no Doctor Who. I've never
Doctor Who's good.
Never in my life, and my mom is like a giant Doctor Who fan. I'm pretty sure she touts the 7th through the 9th as her shit as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Just like when it comes to Star Trek, everyone asks me which Star Trek do I prefer. I was like, I grew up watching the original, but I also grew up watching Next Generations, and I love both, but I love Next Generation just a little more because Patrick Stewart's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, I don't Star Trek very heavily, but I certainly prefer Patrick Stewart to Shatner.
And because Data on that show is my other favorite character.
Yeah.
He's the android robot.
Is on Next Gen, this is how little I Star Trek, is Next Gen, is Spock still there? Is it still Leonard Nimoy?
No, Next Generation takes place way far, but they did do a Star Trek Generations movie where where the Next Generation cast, mainly where Patrick Stewart meets William Shatner, which is cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, Voyager is really good too. I agree. And there's, like I said, there's so many good shows back in the day. Like, I love a good criminal justice crime scene investigation show. Like, I love CSI. Like, I love the original CSI, but my other favorite, even though a lot of people don't like it, I love CSI Miami.
I fuck with both. I mean, I'm a Las Vegas nerd more, Gil Grissom for life. Like,
right? That
one of my earliest crushes. but Miami also fucks, and it's, even if I make fun of Horatio Caine for him taking his glasses off so seriously and making his little quips, it still is a very good show. And I fuck with like Law and Order and shit too. Mostly SVU. I didn't really fuck with like Criminal Intent or whatever.
Right, and like when it comes to NCIS, I mean, the only two NCIS I like, I mean, LA is okay, but I prefer the original NCIS, and then I love the New Orleans one.
I watched the entirety of NCIS because my mom watched it. Like when it was coming out, I was obviously a child, still living with my parents. And she loved it so much. And I watched the entirety of the show, and I don't remember anything because all I could focus on was that super fucking adorable lab tech chick with the fucking pigtails.
Oh, Abby, I think that's her name.
I'm like, I'm sorry, this is the Abby hour. I don't care about anything else that's happening. Can we go back to the lab?
I'm sure she was a lot of people's first crush back then.
I'm saying she has her aesthetic has very raw time Tiffy vibes.
Yeah. Like there's so many shows that's like, I'm just naming so many shows just randomly, like House. That's a good show.
I do fuck with House a little bit. I haven't watched like a lot of it, but that was another one that my mom used to really super love. And every time I would catch bits of it, I'm like, all right, you're a good show.
Another one is Criminal Minds. That's a good one. That one's really good. That's like a crime scene investigation show, which is really good.
I love a good crime show. I love crime movies too, like Casino. Good. I mean, less Goodfellas. It's good, but it's not the Prepo one.
Right. I love Goodfellas. I love a lot of those crime movies too. Like I love the Godfather movies. Those are like classic. That's one of those movies that if they were to remake Godfather, I would protest. Do not remake that movie.
Dawn is dying on this hill. He will not stand for another Godfather.
When I tell people some movies can be remade good, but not all of them. Like a lot of people forget Scarface, the original 81 with Al Pacino. A lot of people aren't aware that was actually a remake, but it's still really good. There was an original Scarface that actually came out in the 30s.
Oh, shit.
And that movie, they could remake numerous times and make it take place during a different time period, where the original took place in real time in the 30s. The one with Al Pacino took place in the 80s in real time. So I could see if they were to do like a modern take on it, yes. And even though a lot of people don't, you either love this actor or you don't like it, like Leonardo DiCaprio, like I don't care what anyone says, he's a phenomenal actor, but there's talks of him like playing Scarface if they made a Scarface movie, and I could see it.
Oh.
I want to see him play a crime boss, like seeing Leonardo DiCaprio play as an organized crime boss. How awesome would that look? Because you look at some of the roles he's played in movies, he's a great actor.
I feel like I've not seen him quite be that. I mean, I've also not seen that many movies, but I feel like I've not seen him quite be that kind of mean or evil or this or that. So like I feel like that'd be a little interesting to watch.
Like one of his most serious movies that is a major mind trip, and you got to watch it. I'm sure you've seen it. It's called Shutter Island. That movie is he is very serious in that movie, and he does a good job.
That was one of those that like I was so there for the whole ride, and then at the end I was like,
you're like, damn, that's sad.
I was like, that just like I don't know. I left unsatisfied, even though like I enjoyed the ride.
I know, and I told people I had a feeling that it was going to end that way, that was going to be the big twist, but I didn't want to think about it. I was like, oh damn. But I liked that twist ending, even though I had a feeling that's how it ended. And I like movies that are like that, where they're a mind trip or they have like this crazy ending where you're like, holy shit. Like the ending of Stephen King's The Mist. That movie has such a messed up ending, and it's not a happy ending at all.
I love when movies just go off and they're like, nope, shit gets fucked up. Deal with it.
Now, when it comes to horror, who's some of your favorite horror people? Obviously, my tops are going to be like Edgar Allan Poe and Stephen King. But I love Edgar Allan Poe as a writer. I loved his poems. I loved his stories. Even his stories and his poems to this day are creepy for their time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think his stuff will be creepy eternally, for sure.
I mean, and I love Alfred Hitchcock as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm struggling to think of any horror movies besides, like... I'm struggling to think of any fucking horror movie right now, other than, like, Terrifier. That's one that I watched in the past few years for the very first time. That I really enjoyed, which is surprising because I'm usually not like a particularly drawn to just like gaudy kind of be gory practical effects movies, but I was severely impressed with the level of work put into that. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of any single horror movie right now other than that. I do fuck with like or well, at least as a kid for sure fucked with like Mike Myers, Mike Myers. That's quite a funny mashup of two different people. Like the classic slasher films and stuff. But I also it's kind of hard for me to quantify because I see you can hand me like sunshine and I'll find the darkness in it. So it's hard to find horror specific things in my brain right now. And also I think I've not been consuming a lot of horror stuff recently. So there's literally like none in my fucking brain RAM. Gone Chaos. It's just me now. I run the hours of chaos now. We'll figure this out. Technical difficulties. Stay tuned. Much clown love to everybody in the chat. Holy shit. Oh, thank you! They were super cheap online. And they are, here we go. They are like candy green, like green apple and black tortoise shell. Pretty sick. I was wondering, Don Chaos usually has some kind of response. And when he sat there for like this for a little bit too long, I was like... Dude, much love. Thanks to everybody fucking pulling up in the chat. Who we got here? I'm gonna just like start freestyling. Shout out Cheese House. Shout out Precious Juggalos. Shout out EC Juggalo. Shout out Dreadlock Juggalo. Shout out all my Juggalos. I'm sure Don Chaos will be back in the bin in a minute. I don't know. Sorry. This is some real jug shit. He might message me a new StreamYard thing or something. Let's see. I'm gonna end this and we'll be right back.
All right, y'all, I'm back. Waifu, I'm back. You can join again. For some reason, the internet connection was acting really weird. That was weird. That's never happened. I fixed it, though. All right, it's the aliens. No, people are out to get your boy, y'all. That was weird. That's never happened in a while. Yeah, I just had to reconnect to my internet. All right, we're going to send her back the link to join. So let me get that ready. Now let me get the link ready. I have to resend it. All right, what's going on here? Why can't I find the link now? Give me a bit, y'all. Why can't I find the link now? All right, let me find it again. Hold on, y'all. I'll send you both the link. Gotta look. Yeah, that's totally never happened. At least not in a while. Gotta love technology. All right, I'm back. We're back, y'all. It's those damn aliens, I tell you.
Hey!
It's my damn real life family trying to do that.
Can't keep juggalos down.
Exactly. Like the saying goes, quoted by your boy, y'all, you can't keep a good joke down.
It's literally on the back of this fucking t-shirt right here.
Hell yeah.
DonChaosStripStore.com. I don't think that's the actual URL, but whatever it is, click on it.
So, yeah, we've been talking about everything, y'all. So now we're going to get into another fun question before I was rudely interrupted by the aliens. But basically, what are your top, 5, favorite foods of all time that you can never get tired of eating?
Ooh.
It could just be food. It could be, food from a certain country or continent. Like, for example, I love Greek food, Mexican food, any type of Asian food, and then Italian food.
Hell yeah.
But if you just have favorite food in general that you love in general.
Little context. I struggle with food because I have a lot of sensory issues and also feel like I can't eat a lot of the times because of an ADHD-ass brain. So one of my favorite foods is a food that just keeps me alive and is delicious enough that I'll always eat it, and it's oatmeal with peanut butter and plant-based vanilla protein powder. Those three things. Make the oatmeal hot and make it just liquidy enough that I can drink it like a smoothie. And not only is it delicious, but it's life-sustaining. And that's the kind of weird I am. That's literally that's top favorite food. Aside from that, though, Japanese food, unbelievable. Yes. It's not only consistently the most delicious food to me, but the most nourishing feeling, and doesn't upset my stomach, doesn't ever make me feel over full or anything like that.
Yeah, I love
Japanese food.
I love sushi.
Oh god, I fucking love sushi. I don't get too experimental in the realm of trying different fishes, just because texture and taste I'm very weird about, but I do fuck with I love tuna, salmon, eel, which eel's usually always cooked, but always really good in sushi as well.
Yeah, who doesn't love the spicy tuna, especially sushi?
I love it when it's a little spicy. Put some sriracha mayo on it, or
I even love fried.
Eat it with wasabi.
I even love fried sushi. Like fried sushi's good. Like calamari with sushi. Oh, yes.
I haven't actually had like fried sushi. They have some rolls down here that are completely fried, but I've had sushi that like the meat inside was like tempura shrimp.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was an experience. I'm not really a shrimp person at all, unless there's breading on it. I can't handle the texture. But that one hit, I will say. So yeah, I love Japanese food. I love sushi. I really love dumplings, like pot sticker dumpling, veggie. I mean, I don't eat meat or dairy, but I eat fish and eggs. So like, give a map of like the foods that why I'm particularly talking about these foods. So the dumplings that I would eat are veggie. And every time that I eat them, I imagine Goku stuffing his mouth completely full. And it like makes my soul feel full, and yeah, like you can feel the strength going in my body. I'd say Mexican food is probably also the other like general culture of food that is my other mainstay. It's very like Japanese.
Same here.
My three areas of food are Japanese, Mexican, and autism. Like that's really like that's. I like those two, and then I accommodate the other food needs.
Yeah, I've grown up eating Mexican food my whole life, so it's like one of those things I'll never get tired of. So like in Colorado, we like have some really, really good Mexican restaurants, and you'll know you're in Colorado because we put green chili on everything. And a lot of people don't know what green chili is. People know what red chili is, but people are like, there's also green chili. I'm like, yeah, and it's good.
Yeah, and
because when I lived in Florida, which is still like on the East Coast down south, like where you guys live, they don't even know what green chili is. I'm like, what?
Yes. I make that, we call it Mexican cornbread. I don't know if Mexican people actually make it, but us white folk in Kentucky certainly call it Mexican cornbread, where you put green chilies and tomato in it. And I've served it to a few people who have been quite surprised at the flavor and the fact that green chilies have any heat. And I'm like, y'all know about peppers? Like, what?
Another good thing, I recommend anyone tried that no one's ever tried, is like Mexican street corn on the cob. So good.
Oh my god, elote, yeah, fuck yeah.
So you know what that is?
Oh god, yeah.
Someone didn't know what that was. I'm like, it's basically corn on the cob, but it has cheese, and then it has mayonnaise, and then you put chili powder on it.
I would throw some smoked paprika on there, some fucking chipotle.
See, Trailer knows Denver's got some of the best Mexican restaurants out here, especially some of the best street tacos.
Fuck yeah, Kentucky has surprisingly good Mexican food. We've got some really good families out here holding it down for making some really good food. And shout out the place across the street. They make killer huevos rancheros.
and it's funny like that, because I have another homie who lives in Kentucky, and he says when you have KFC in Kentucky, it tastes terrible, but he's tried KFC in other states, and he says for some reason in other states it tastes better, but when you have KFC in Kentucky, something about it tastes terrible. Is that true?
I mean, I've not eaten KFC in probably a couple years. However,
I prefer Popeyes. I'm more of a Popeyes chicken dude.
It's always hit for me being in Kentucky, although I've never eaten it out of state, actually, so I don't have a point of reference, to be fair. I could imagine it being like, yeah, it's what we do. Like maybe not caring as much here for some reason, but I could also see the opposite of that, where it's like, it's what we fucking do, but I don't know.
And there's also
a chain restaurant that the fucking 18-year-old behind the counter doesn't really seem to give a shit about how they fry the chicken. So,
Right? Like, who doesn't love a good biscuits and gravy, too? That shit's amazing.
I love biscuits and gravy. That's something that I've been trying to recreate without dairy or meat. And my God, how the fuck do you do that? It's pretty hard. I'm working on it. I miss biscuits and gravy. I stopped eating. Context for why I keep speaking like that. I stopped eating meat and dairy a couple years ago, probably about 2.5, 3 years ago. So I have a lot of like looking back on my biscuits and gravy and homemade Alfredo, coconut cream pie days.
And what's like if people were in your area or in Kentucky, what are some like local based only Kentucky places that you would recommend, like restaurants that people should try? And what's the best dish from some of those places?
Oh. The first place I'm thinking of it's in Lexington, Kentucky. It's off Limestone. It's called Girls Burritos. It is women owned and operated. It's femme owned and operated. And there's a bar. There's like whole restaurant and stuff. It's full service kitchen. It's not just like a bar that serves food. It is a restaurant that has a bar. And they do all very as authentic as possible.
Oh yeah, I love
offerings.
authentic.
Much more stuff you'd get like off of a taco truck type deal than sitting down kind of at a Mexican restaurant here, where it's been a little more Americanized.
Yeah, I love authentic Mexican food, and I saw you, Frankie Goldie. Frankie, next time you come to Colorado, since you said haven't had a good restaurant in Colorado, well, next time you're here, Frankie, I'll take you to some really good Mexican restaurants here in Denver.
And I can't, at that specific place, I can't think of any like dishes, but they do let you create your own burrito. And I distinctly recall the carnitas being really delicious. And they have this like pink coleslaw. It's like pink cabbage coleslaw that like,
ooh,
if you're into that kind of flavor bouncing off the rest of your savory deliciousness, like,
oh yeah,
highly recommend. Highly recommend. And that's a local spot. It's not a chain. It's just a place that has managed to actually make it through the shutdown and stuff a few years ago. I think they only opened in like 2019, and then they like held on for dear life through the next couple years and have made it through. Kudos to living in a college town.
Oh yeah. And then what would be like another like place like me, like another place I recommend? Like there's a place here, it's only in Colorado, and there's one in the whole state. It's called Wishbone. Some of the best chicken fried steak you'll have, because it's not just any kind of gravy, but they put yellow chicken flavored gravy on it. So good.
Whoa. Did you say yellow gravy?
Yeah, which is basically chicken flavored gravy. Tell me that does not sound good.
I bet that's savory as fuck.
It is. It's very savory. Yeah, I've always eaten like at local places. Like, yeah, I'll go to the occasional big corporation place, but I try to support like local places. Like I like Starbucks, but when I want to get decent coffee, I go to a local mom and pop coffee shop. Like one of the best coffee chains we have here in Colorado. It's called Ziggy's Coffee. It's so good.
Hell yeah. We've got a little, they're a local place. And I say we, it's just in Kentucky. It's a local place, but they have like a main store, and then they also have like a little kiosk in like a Kroger parking lot somewhere. So they have like an express version. So like you can go to the express version, but it's still a local coffee spot. It's so cool. I think it's called like Common Grounds or something like that. So good little coffee spot. They make a really good lavender latte, and they have non-dairy milk options. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
There's another place called, I think the actual name is El Rey de Pollo, which is the king of chicken. In Lexington. It is in the Spanish, the barrio, like the Spanish neighborhoods and like businesses and stuff like that. And it is, I would recommend you speak some level of Spanish if you're going to go in and order some food for sure. Unless you're just down to get whatever they give you. They work with you too, of course, but nice to have some level of Spanish. They have, I can't remember what they're called. Oh, gorditas. I would get gorditas there. And they have one that is like poblano, which I can't eat anymore because it's got cheese on it. But it's got like poblano peppers and cheese and like something else that was crazy, crazy good. So El Rey del Pollo, the king of chicken in Lexington as well.
Yeah, I've only been to Kentucky once, and that's when me and my homegirl, we flew out to Louisville, Kentucky to Louisville. I know I pronounced it right. I always make sure I'm pronouncing it right. And some people will, I know, and that's exactly how I make sure to say it. I'm like, sometimes it may not sound like I'm saying that because of my accent.
Oh, yeah. And like, that's how we say it here. I don't expect that to be how you say it there.
just like some people say New Orleans or New Orleans, and some people, like my friend that lives in Kentucky, told me, you can say it different ways, but the best way to say is Nolans. I was like, okay. I mean, we did have a teacher when I was in school. She would pronounce Colorado. She would say Colorado. I was like, but Colorado doesn't have an A at the end of it. It's pronounced Colorado. But I know it's because she had an accent. That's a why.
Mm-hmm. And where we just came off of some Spanish stuff, my brain is like, you can't do that. It's O or it's A. You can't mix them because it's two different things.
Oh yeah, like I'll run across people that will say, like when we're talking about the food gyro, they'll like do it on purpose and say it's pronounced gyro. I'm like, don't ever call it a gyro. And they're like, why? I'm like, it's pronounced Euro. And they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, because I am Greek. It's pronounced Euro.
Me one of them gyroscopic lamb tacos.
Yeah, like someone's like, no, it's pronounced gyro. I'm like, no, don't ever say that again. I was like, if you want to do it jokingly, fine, but I don't care. But if you're like a closed-minded person, then I'll be like, no, don't call it
that. You've been at the chat. And yes, Trailer Park, Kentucky is an incredibly beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if anybody in here loves like rolling hills and fucking trees and
yeah. When I went down there,
shit, but
and when I went down there, it was nice because me and my homegirl went down there to meet our homie because he lives there, and we basically drove from Louisville all the way to Detroit because it's not really that far of a drive.
Hell yeah, it's surprisingly short, especially up 65 there. I grew up a couple hours south-ish of Louisville, so that was like my metro city growing up. I would go to shows there and shit.
So, and where you get, and I know you guys have told me where you guys live, you guys aren't too far. It's not that bad of a drive to get to the gathering for you guys.
Oh yeah. We're I'd say we're probably about 4.5 hours from Thornville, if I had to venture to guess. It's definitely a very doable trip within a day.
Oh, yeah, and where my friend lives, because he does live in Louisville, he said it takes him anywhere from only just to get to Thornville, anywhere from like 2 hours to 3 hours. I'm like, that's not bad.
Hell yeah. Yeah, if traffic's not bad, I can be in Cincinnati in probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, if I can cruise.
Nice.
Which is really nice because there's, sometimes jug shows happen here in like around Louisville, but we've only got to catch one in Louisville so far. We have to cross, or at least go to Newport or cross into Cincinnati or,
Oh yeah, like I hear Kentucky's got real live Juggalo shows. Like the Juggalo shows there are wild, but they're amazing.
Yeah. We've been very blessed to catch a few the past couple of years. Not as many this past year, but
yeah, Ouija's definitely one of those dudes. No matter how many times I've seen him live, I'll never get tired of seeing him live. Same with the Clowns, same with Darby. I was like, they always put on a good, like, stellar show.
100%. It will, the water hitting me in the face, it will be like the first time every time, like the jugs bouncing. Like it hits like the first time every time for me.
Yeah.
I share that very strongly.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories was it sucks because it got taken down from my old YouTube channel, and this was like good footage. It was during one of Ouija's sets when he played during here for Gorefest, but he like threw a cone into the crowd, and then him and my homie in the crowd were like playing catch back and forth with the cone and shit. He kept throwing it, and then my homie would throw it back to him, and then he'd throw it back at him, and it was just funny as hell. And I was like, damn,
I love some on-off stage antics. That always makes me happy.
Oh yeah, or there's like footage of Ouija like performing, and me and my homie are front row. So he's like, yeah, and then my homegirl's like, goddamn you. He's like, goddamn me, goddamn you, goddamn we.
That is so funny. I'm sorry to bust out. Trailer Park say Newport is my favorite hellhole on earth, and I could not agree. That dirty town is very special. Shout out the Travel Lodge that does not exist anymore. I would have paid so much money to be there full of juggalos instead of like deadhead hippies. But it's cool. It was good times when I was there.
Yeah. That's one of my, I've always loved Ouija sets, but that Gorefest set that he did that year was just amazing.
I bet. What year was that ish?
It was like probably 2018, 19-ish, and it was one of the nights where he headlined, which is awesome.
Hell yeah. That's literally 2018-19 is when I got back into wicked shit. That was the year that I was like, no, I need to consciously go and listen to every Joker's card and figure some fucking shit out.
And I have to plug it because the homie, I do it for the homie Scum because that's my homie. But if you guys ever come out to Gorefest, and this is for anyone, it's totally free for people that are out of state. If you come from out of state or you have a military ID, you get in Gorefest for totally free for all 4 days. All you got to do is just pay your travel fees. How awesome is that?
Pretty sweet deal. Put some socks on. Sorry.
Now what I wonder is like, I did a theory video saying I wonder if like Ouija Mac is still going to do Juggalo Ohio, or if he's going to do the original plan of what he wanted to do before Juggalo Ohio, where he plays in a different city or state every year and comes out with a very clever name. Like imagine if he played in Florida, it would be called Juggalo Rida, and anyone that gets that reference, it's perfect.
Oh, Florida.
And
I like that. I like that a lot. I've heard you say that a few times, and I think that that's a really interesting idea. And I think that is.
And when
that's
and a
the
lot of
kind
people
of thing that I would like to see. Like I would,
make it like Juggalo
Move it
Weekend,
around.
where make it like Juggalo Weekend, where it's in a different city or state. Like a lot of people don't know, before Juggalo Ohio, he did do a 2-night event like that, and he did it here in Denver, but it was called Death by Denver.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, I love the idea. I fuck with the idea of moving a big kind of mainstay event like that around.
There's
to make it,
Taylor.
in the name of making it more accessible to different people all over the thing.
There's-
Hey, it's Taylor! Whoop whoop!
Which she is almost here, y'all, because she is going to come out and hang out for the weekend. So she wasn't able to come on the stream, but we were actually going to surprise you, and it was going to be both me and her interviewing you.
Hey! Oh my god! I love that idea. I'll have to come back and do that also. Whenever.
But sadly, she couldn't get here in time. But whenever you got something coming on, you're always welcome to let me know, and you're always welcome here on the show anytime. Just like I tell all my guests, you have anything that you're working on, just let me know, and I will book a date for y'all.
Hell fucking yeah.
Because I like having guests on more than once. Because I'm the kind of person, when I watch interviews, I like to binge watch interviews by people, even when they're done by the same person. I'm like, okay, they interviewed them during this time. Oh, let's see what they're doing now that they're doing interviewed.
Oh god, yeah. I live for.
So that's why when
I love lore. I love hearing about people's shit.
So that's why when I bring people on the show, like I'll tell them, oh, so what have you been up to since the last time we had you on the show?
Hell yeah.
And so when it comes to your music, where do you hope to see yourself in like maybe 4, 5, 3 years with your music? Where do you hope to take your music, basically? Like one thing I love about Taylor is she's like, if I get big from my music, cool. If I don't get big, cool. But a lot of people, that's what a lot of people love about her. She's not doing music for the fame. She's just writing out her feelings, and she just wants to put how she feels out there.
Yeah. I'm on a similar type beat. I fuck with that for sure.
I mean, you two are twins, so you two have
you
a
know,
lot.
we're literally birthday twinsies, like potentially even the same year. I don't know exactly, but at least the same day. Like some stars have aligned here. Once again, some people will understand what I'm saying, some won't. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be like not only do I not want that, I am consciously trying to curate how I'm offering in a way that doesn't happen, if that makes sense. To be even famous among juggalos would be a lot for my little nervous system.
I know, and I don't tell people I'm not famous. I am not famous. I am just, like I say I am. I'm just your friendly neighborhood JUWGALO. I'm like, I am you guys. Even though people tell me you're a pillar in this community, I was like, thank you, but I am just you guys and stuff. I am basically you guys.
And that's, you know, the everyday juggalo is the pillar of the community. Like, that's...
Damn it, Trailer Park. I love you, though.
Don Chaos is famous to me as well. That's, you know, your podcast was the very first podcast I watched. Also, by the way, just on that note, when I started like entering into online juggalodium world, I was like, who this motherfucker?
Yeah, I still can't believe I've been already doing this show for 8 years. Not a lot of shows can say that they've lasted that long.
Been a transformation.
Oh yeah, it has. This show's evolved. I used to just be a simple dude that would just put my webcam on and do this. Now I have studio equipment and all that stuff.
Dare I say, you did it on purpose?
I did.
Mm-hmm. As far as where I see myself going, I just want to keep writing music. I just want to keep meeting more juggalos that fuck with the way I fuck with shit.
Same. And that's how I tell people. I just want to be meeting new juggalos. I want to make sure the talented people in our community don't get overlooked, because a lot of talented people, whether you're someone who does music, artwork, or even a podcast, a lot of talented people get overlooked. And that's why I tell people we have 3 kinds of guests on the show. We have up and coming people that eventually people will know about. Then we have people that people somewhat know about. And then obviously we have those guests that people do know.
Hell yeah.
And the main goal is to be reminiscent on the early days of when No Jumper used to be good. Keyword, used to. Fuck you, Adam 22, you fucking cuck.
When it used to hit.
Because I'm not going to lie, No Jumper back in the day was good, and that show helped me discover a lot of artists back in the day. Like, I would watch the early Suicide Boys interviews before they blew up. Those are dope. I would watch No Jumper when he had Lil Peep on. Rest in peace, Lil Peep. Peep. I love Lil Peep.
No Jumper before they jumped the shark. Oh,
yes.
Shout out.
So basically, this is the underground juggalo version of No Jumper when it used to be good.
Yes. I said jump the shark, and I instantly saw Henry Winkler jumping over this inflatable shark in Arrested Development. And I have got to say, I don't know which show I'm taking off of my list from earlier, but I'm taking one of those shows off, and Arrested Development is going on there. Yeah. Honestly, Seinfeld. I'm taking Seinfeld off, and Arrested Development's going on. Sorry, Larry David.
Yeah, I never thought I would see the day when people are like wearing my stuff. So that always makes me feel very emotional, y'all, but in a very good way. Or when people come up to me and they tell me thank you, I grab them by the hand and I give them a hug. I'm like, no, thank you. And that's why I'm known as the Karma Millionaire, y'all. I spread so much good karma in this community. I don't ask for anything in return. And if people decide to help me, cool. If they don't, cool. But what we gotta do is uplift each other. I uplift someone, and they're uplifting someone, and then they're leaning over while helping uplift me, and we're creating this big like rope of shit.
Fuck yeah, dude! Diamond Rain got to come from somewhere. It doesn't just fall out of the sky. So I would love it too.
Now, when you do your music, can we expect you, like when you get comfortable doing it, probably doing shows too?
Oh fuck yeah, yeah. That's one major bucket list goal for this year is to try to get on stage once. Not even get on stage, but just to perform my one single that I have right now, and maybe even other stuff that comes out. To perform once this year for any number of people besides Dungeon would be that's certainly on the bucket list. And
well, if you guys want to perform at Gorefest, just email them, especially when you have more music out, and just let them know.
And speaking of having more music out, I am currently working on my very first EP. I don't know any kind of time frame yet, but I don't know. It's probably 60% done, and I'm kind of like Kanye West, to where like that last 40% is probably going to come at the like last minute. So it'll get shit out when it needs to get shit out, and then that'll come together. And as far as like, I want to harken back a little bit where I see myself going and stuff like that. Like, I just want to keep processing life and existence and writing about it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, or what am I trying to say? I'm just trying to feel and process. But I do have some, like, I'm building some shit. There's the reason that I haven't just like putting out everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it. And I'm trying to build some shit, and I'm not like, you know, I ain't no fucking hero. I've just been wondering why. I'm not saying I got nothing to say, but I'm kind of working. I don't know. I keep telling myself I'm in my trash fire era, if that makes sense. So, and
that's one of the main
pre-trash fire era.
That's one of the many reasons why I love you and Taylor, is you both have the same writing process, and I think you two would just sound perfect together, because I know somewhere you two have talked about like doing a song together as well, and I know Cheese just said she wants to do a song with you.
Fuck yeah, I certainly would like to work with Taylor, bro. I've got a couple
not only just like a song, but I could see you guys doing a whole collab album, or even being like a duo. Like, there's not a lot of female duos in this, and there needs to be more, because there's so many talented women in this.
I wish I had my little nails so I could clip. I love duos, trios, groups. Like, I really love the thought of more femme-based juggalo performing groups, even if it's just, you know, even if we just do a problem children together, even if we're not like doing it all the time, even if we just do albums together here and there. Like, I want to so badly, like, literally the other day I was like, how do I put together my juggalo Destiny's Child? Like, I fuck with duo and groups so much. And I love, on that note, I love solo MCs and stuff like that, but overall my music tastes definitely lean more toward groups. Like, one of my all-time favorite rap groups is J5.
Well, and our guest even last week, Candace C, she said she's down to work with anyone. So
yes,
hit her up.
Bro, I really like her.
which you guys need to check out that interview. And she is a talented person, and she's down to earth.
Girl got bars for sure as well, and she's out there trying to do her fucking grind. And
she's the same way. She doesn't care. She says if she becomes famous, she becomes famous, but if she becomes famous, she wants her music to be real and it coming from the heart, like it does.
Absolutely.
Because that's one thing I've been noticing, is a lot more of the talented artists that, yeah, we like entertainment, but a lot of us like real music that comes from the heart. Like, we want to see a lot of those people that put their heart in what they do get the recognition that they deserve.
For sure. Like
I tell people, like, about Ouija Mac, yes, he'll rap about crazy nonsense, but you dig deep, he touches on some real shit that like grabs you by the soul. Or when I hear his personal shit, I'm like, damn, this would have been music. This is music that I would have been listening to 15 years ago. This would have been like the soundtrack to my life.
fucking 100 goddamn percent. And on, like the song I think of specifically when you say that is Broken, and the way it's just kind of like sneaky, just sitting in there in the middle of wasteland. Like, I'm sorry, we're on this ride, and then you just take me and just like take my soul out of my body for a song, and then we go right back into like, fuck, we're doing the shit like. Yeah.
And I'm glad I've been on this ride since the beginning, since Trash Fire dropped. Like, a lot of people don't know, me and Frankie have known each other for years. So I knew this game plan that Ouija was doing from the beginning because Frankie told me.
Chaos sees through time. That's that Dawn Vision.
Exactly. And a lot of y'all can attest, the Dawn Chaos merch is very good quality and it ships super, super fast. Like, where else can you say you're going to get a hoodie for $30 some and a good quality hoodie at that?
Gotta hydrate my damn lips. On the note of, you said you've been bent down, you've been bent around as far as for the Ouija stuff.
Yeah, me and Frankie have known each other for a long time, and I am proud to call that dude my big brother. That dude is one of my best friends. So if you fuck with that dude, you're fucking with me. And y'all don't want to get on Don's bad side. Trust me, I can be a nice dude, but you mess with the people I care about, watch the fuck out.
Oh, yeah. If you don't fucks with Frankie Goldie, I don't.
I mean, there's a reason why my name is Dawn before Chaos. I'll just say there's a reason why the word Dawn is there too. There's a reason.
On the note of, you said since like 2015 or since pre stuff you've been figuring out, it made me think I wanted to say like that 2018 2019 era that I mentioned earlier, that's literally when I found Ouija. I found Ouija in the gutter water kind. And strangely enough, I'd revisited with ICP, and then I guess because I specifically was searching for albums, like I didn't like just go to their Spotify page. I didn't know that they were still making music. Like, as crazy as that sounds, I had no fucking idea anything happened post Shangri-La. Like, it was a wild revelation. And so got back in ICP, and then literally just randomly through some trap fucking playlist, we hear Galoshes, and we're like, this song fucks. I'm sorry, does that baby have Hatchet Mans on? Wait, hold the fuck on.
And you're like, oh, is this paying homage to Nirvana?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, Nirvana, like fucking like alien ass, goblin ass Nirvana baby with Hatchet Man chains and braid, like, and he's pissing in the water. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I need it. And yeah, it was beautiful.
You guys are gonna see a wild Dawn Chaos, trust me. Like, I am gonna, like I said, I'm making my return to the gathering, and you guys are gonna see me while out. Yes, I may have to walk with a cane now, but that ain't gonna stop me from wiling out and getting live with y'all. And
fucking right. And we're doing the fucking the kitty mosh pit. I'm bringing floaties. We're doing the mosh pit. We are gonna mosh. We shall gentle mosh.
There you go. Yeah, like that's always one of my favorite fond memories of the gathering is like smoking with Darby, Dev, and Frankie, and then just seeing Darby's reaction. He's like, wow, Dawn, you do. He's like, I forgot. You said you smoked. And he was still like shocked and stuff. He's like, you really do smoke. And he's like, all right. And he just passes it to me.
I've gotten that a few times, and I'm like, are you
like,
fucking serious? Do I not reek of stoner? Like, what?
Yeah, like a lot of people did not know that. They're like, I didn't know you smoked, Dawn. I was like, yes, I started smoking weed when I was about 14, 15.
Shout out.
But I didn't, the first time I got stoned, it was secondhand high because I was at a concert. And that was like the summer after I graduated middle school. And it was a Snoop Dogg concert. What do you expect?
That is hilarious.
So that was actually one of my real first shows that I remember going to by myself. Like, just imagine this lineup. It was Chameleonaire, Paul Wall, E40, Twista, and Snoop Dogg. How was that for a lineup?
Oh, you just made a fork jump off my table. That was such a hot lineup. My 12-year-old heart was just like, I'm sorry, what? Like, goddamn, what a lineup.
And yeah, that's back when Summer Jam used to book actually talented people.
The very first concert I can remember going to is Blue Oyster Cult. That's the first concert I had any fucking memories of. My parents took me to see them. And my dad is an insane person, and he likes to be, he is that guy that wants things, very respectfully, but he wants things signed, and he wants to like interact with the people, so he's like one of those backstage lurkers. But we ended up, I got to meet Blue Oyster Cult. That's what I'm trying to say. But
nice.
Out how crazy my dad is.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, Cheese, he couldn't make it because I think he had a lot of stuff going down. But I think this has been a good interview. Like, for doing your first interview, I must say, you did a very great job.
Well, thank you so much, Don Chaos. You're easy to talk to.
And I think that's why a lot of people love to come on my show, because it's just a laid-back, chill interview. It's just basically chatting with a homie. I'm not like your stereotypical interview where I'll ask the same annoying, repetitive question. Like, yeah, I'll ask all my guests the same question, but I always know I'm going to get a different answer from each of them. Hence why I still ask the same questions, because I always know I'm going to get a different answer.
And I really like your questions, personally.
Like, I would love to interview.
They get my cogs going.
Like, I would love to interview Jay and Shaggy, but you know, everyone else asks them those regular questions. Like me, I would like dig down the rabbit hole with questions with them. Like, I want to know, what is Ouija Mac's personal favorite albums? That would be good to hear him say that. Or what are Jay and Shaggy's like personal favorite albums of all time?
Fuck yeah. I'm also on some weird shit that I'm like, what was your favorite box macaroni when you were a kid? Like, I want to know like all the things.
Oh yeah, and before we let you go, this is always a fun question to ask. Okay, you're stuck on a desert island. You name 5 artists or groups, like just 5 in general. It could be an artist, band, in general. But whose whole discography are you bringing with on you on that desert island to keep yourself occupied forever?
One whole discography or 5?
Like 5 artists' like discography, basically, or groups.
Oh.
Like me, first, obviously, I'm going to go with ICP because they have a big discography. I would go with the Tupac discography. I would go with Ouija's. And then I would go with the Wu-Tang Clan documentary. You know what I mean? Discography. Because not only because not only does Wu-Tang Clan have their group albums, but you include their solo albums that they've done individually and their other side projects that they've done. That's a big discography.
Right. Okay. I'd say at this point in my life, ICP, because the same reason people are like, I'll take my Bible, and need the ICP. I want to say Lil Wayne because he's an extremely important rapper to me in my come up of life. Like, I found
Lil Wayne's got
when
bars.
I was like 12 years old and was like,
well, Lil Wayne's got bars. I don't care what anyone says. Like, yeah, there's some of those songs, but when Lil Wayne spits fire, he spits fire.
Yeah, R.E. Yeah, I was about to start just rapping Dr. Carter. Yes, 100%. I fucking. He's my goat. You know, I'm not like the goat. Again, no favorites, but he's my goat, I would say. Especially, you know, as far as inspiring me to think I have the audacity to write shit. However, I have actually not listened to anything past the Carter 3 because I like consciously did not let myself for a long time, and I'm gonna actually start listening. I'm going to start listening to the stuff post Carter 3 soon. So that's a whole new thing. So just honorable mention, I guess, but I'm not going to throw him on there because I've not actually listened to his entire discography. So I don't know. I assume I still fuck with his shit, but honestly, I don't know. I'm only up to the Carter 3. So.
Oh, yeah. The Carter 3, that just brings me back to high school, and the Carter 2. Flawless.
I'm saying the Carter 2, well, I found the song Go DJ first, just as a single, because I was a kid on LimeWire, and it was just, when you're looking up rap music, it was one of the most popular ones at the time. And I swear to God, when that fucking beats, blah, 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 and Manny Fresh, I was like, I'm sorry, what? I instantly was hooked. And then I found the Carter 2 again. My God. Okay, so back to the question. Discographies. ICP, Ouija Mac. Because that's the music that I was able to burn down and rebuild myself to very consciously over the span of like 2 weeks. On some not ayahuasca shit, but like I didn't actually do ayahuasca, but emotional ayahuasca. So ICP, Ouija Mac. I'm gonna say the Grateful Dead because it is foundational to who I am. It's the music I was raised in. That's the scene and like church of music that I was raised in, and I'm very attached to a lot of those like stories and themes and stuff like that. And honestly, don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. Chapel Roan. She's just like, I literally just learned about her probably about 8 months ago, in classic hipster fashion, tuned out of everything and learned about mainstream stuff a little too late, but who fucking cares? Love it. And honestly, I'm gonna pick a not from my past. I'm gonna pick a new discography, even newer discography, and that's Will Gates.
Hell yeah, those are definitely good picks.
I've been really listening to Billy on repeat, and it's been hitting like when I first listened to Ouija. So.
Hell yeah! Well, this was a very great show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Again, you're always welcome back on the show anytime, whether you have anything new coming on and you want to promote it, just let me know. And of course, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs? And of course, can the Hours of Chaos podcast and your boy get a shout out?
I mean, shout the fuck out to the Dawn of Chaos himself. I mean, what is jug culture if Don Chaos isn't part of it and contributing to it? It's not something I want to be part of. I can't shout out. Lists are hard. Shout out everybody who's watching this right now who fucks with how I fuck with shit and who has shown love and accepted my love back and stuff like that. And shout out all of the fucking openers, because that's what it is. Like it's opener life. Like that is the life breath of the culture.
Exactly.
So shout out everybody who has the audacity to create their music and put it out.
Exactly. And that's one thing I've always told people. The whole point of this show, yes, we're going to have people on there that everyone knows, but we're also going to have those people, no matter what you do, up and coming, that no one's going to know, that you're going to look back on, and that Waifu's going to look back on and go, you know what? I'm going to look back and I realized my first interview was with Dawn Chaos. And I've had homies do that, like with some of their music. They'll like sample like parts of my show into like their music, which is cool. Like I literally have my homies that are like sampling me, introducing them on the show as like part of like the intro to their album, which is awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And now I have a fun thing that I want to do where this little, I guess you could say gimmick, but it makes it where I'm like a puppet master, where I'm like appearing in like people's like music videos, and it's like Find Waldo. It's like, damn, Don's there, and now he's in that video. And the whole thing is to be like, I'm like the puppet master, and that's what the logo for The Godfather is. Don Corleone, puppet master, y'all. Don Chaos. Makes sense.
You got
y'all?
me with the Waldo. Like, you said the Where's Waldo thing, and I saw this drawn image of like a bunch of jugs at the gathering and like sneaking you in there. Like, I might have to commission that art from somebody.
But yeah, I guess if anyone does want to work with you, they can easily just hit you up, right?
Yes, yeah. I am a bit socially retarded, so like, although I don't communicate very well, or a lot, or this or that, or whatever the fuck, talk to me. I feel like I have an unapproachable vibe sometimes. I welcome talking to me. I would love to collaborate with people who are interested in what the fuck I'm doing and interested in actually contributing to the culture and shit like that. And yeah, I'm, unpopular to most people entering the rap game, but I'm also a woman entering the rap game at fucking 30. I'm here to make friends. I'm here to make connection, not friends. Ain't no friends, only family, and there won't be no pretend. I'm here to make fam, and I'm here to connect. So
exactly,
please.
we're all here to build connections and uplift each other, y'all. Because yes, y'all, there is so much negative going on in the world, but we don't care about that negative stuff. A lot of us are here because we want to be away from the negative stuff. And like I tell people, if there's ever is anything negative in our community, yes, we will touch on it. But there's so much awesomeness going on in our community. If you just focus on the negative, you're missing out on all the cool stuff. You are missing out.
Oh, and on the note of getting at me, if you happen, I'm Waifu Wicked everywhere. I'm only on Instagram really, and YouTube and SoundCloud. But like, if you happen to get at me on Instagram, I cannot respond to you for 3 days. So I will heart your messages if you send them to me, but I can't reply right now because I'm like to push the limits of things.
Oh yeah, and like you said, your creative writing process is different because I know if you're probably like Taylor, you like to take your time, and I know that's what Taylor says. So if anyone does want to work with Taylor, still hit her up, but just be patient with her because her writing process is really different and stuff.
Mhm.
But because everyone's different with their writing process.
Mhm.
So she says if anyone does want to work with her too, just be patient with her and she will get back to you.
Fuck yeah, shout out Taylor. It's important to meet people where they are and see like where we can go.
Hell yeah. I mean, there's a reason why this show won radio show of the year.
Yo, just before we close, is that fucking Stevie Trudeau? Is that Stevie Trudeau for the chair right now?
It looks like it, yep.
I've adopted you. You're one of my adopted children. I hope you consent to that. You can revoke it, but I've adopted you. Tell the other hooligans they're included.
Hell yeah. Of course. Thank you for joining us. And yeah.
Anytime, Don Chaos.
Hell yeah. And for those that don't know, I do my Sunday hangout streams. So if anyone wants to come hang out on there and just kick it with the bullshit on that show, basically we jam out to music and we just vibe out and chill. We don't spread negativity just like we don't on here because fuck that negative shit. Yes, sometimes we need to listen to some sad music, but that is what's therapeutic for us. And you guys got to remember, when it comes to music, it's not just therapy for you, it's therapy for the person writing the song.
Absolutely. And sad is not negative on that note.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for joining. And yeah, if you want to feel free, you can mingle in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I'll hang out in the chat for sure.
All right. Have a good night.
Much love.
Much love. Whoop, whoop. Hell yeah, y'all. And that was Waifu Wicked, making her very first ever interview on the Hours of Chaos podcast. So remember, y'all, we have 3 different types of guests on this show. You could be doing anything in this community, this culture, or anything in general, whether it's music, art, comedy, movie directing, your own clothing brand. The whole point of this show is we have people on the show that no one's heard of, but that they're eventually going to know of. And then we have people that people somewhat know. And then we have those guests that people do know. So basically, this was a good show. You know, this show gets better and better, y'all. Yeah, you can. So before we let you guys go, what we do before we usually end the stream, usually we have topics, and I do have some, but I will touch on them on next week's show, because next week's show, we're going to have a double feature actually on this show next week. So, because we touch everything on the show. We have interviews with people. We touch on news and topics going on in our community. Of course, for those that don't know, the Hours of Chaos podcast and everything that Don Chaos has done is sponsored by Blind Death Clothing. Go check them out down below. If you guys are for Juggalos by Juggalos, Blind Death Clothing is a company that sponsors me, and they're ran by Juggalos, and they've been in business for 11 years. So go check them out. Go get yourself some official Chaos drip, which is my own official merch store. And yeah, we're going to have a double feature next week on the Hours of Chaos podcast. Also, I guess we have a few topics lined up. The one thing I also want to get out is I want to wish a very happy birthday to my little bro, the one and only Will Gates. Happy birthday, bro. Love you. Have a good one. And next week, like I said, it's going to be a double feature of the Hours of Chaos podcast. So we're going to be joined by Grim Reality Entertainment's own Spec One. He's making a return back on the show. Mass Gang, y'all. And then we are going to be joined by the one and only BioKills, which is making his debut on the Hours of Chaos podcast. So this was a good show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Share this everywhere, y'all. If you guys want to see Don Chaos win the Replicon Awards again for Best Radio Show, Podcast / Content Creator, feel free to go vote or go cast your votes for other people as well. Go vote for whoever you want. So yeah, with that being said, you guys already know who I am. Get ready in the chat, y'all. I am Mr. D to the O to the N to the C to the H to the A to the O to the S. Your friendly neighborhood JUGGALO, the Karma Millionaire. If you don't know, now you know. And if you still don't know, well, then it sucks to be you. Later, y'all. Whoop, whoop. Have a good night, y'all. And I will see you guys Sunday for the Chaotic Clown Lounge Sundays. Deuces, y'all. Whoop, whoop. And I'm going to go hang out with Taylor because she should be here pretty soon because she's here in town visiting, y'all. Whoop, whoop, y'all. Love you guys. Remember, there's a lot of people that want to pretend that Don Chaos doesn't exist. Make them know. That's why you guys here in the chat are known as the Cult of Chaos or even the Agents of Chaos. So if you guys do order official Chaos Strip, make sure you send me pictures because there's a video project that I'm going to be working on. And I want to see a bunch of people at the gathering this year repping official Chaos Strip. That's what I want to see. Later, y'all. Love you guys. Whoop, whoop.